Hi, this is Garry Morgan with In the Borough, arclight.blogspot.com. We're just going to do a short video interview with
Judy Hayes.
Judy Nichols Hayes. And what is your relationship to Stacy
I'm her
Sullivan?
youngest sister.
So you were Stacy's younger sister, and you've got family here and some other folks, and you're concerned about the case is not proceeding, right?
Right. It's like we've hit a standstill waiting for the autopsy to come back.
Has anybody told you, is this a murder? Was she murdered, or?
They suggested it early on, and even last week, whenever I guess it was Friday or Thursday. It was Thursday.
Right.
I was on the phone with Mr. Rocky Harnan.
Right.
And he told me that even though we all believe that it's a murder, it cannot be labeled so until the autopsy comes back.
Right. And this, she went missing on, let's see, it was 2016. What month and day was that? April
20th was the day she went missing. Her body was found at about 3 a.m. on April 21st.
Okay, and y'all, I believe y'all are going to have a candlelight vigil for Stacy out here. When is that now?
We're having a candlelight vigil Friday, April 21st at 6:30 p.m. in hopes to bring some awareness to our cause and just in memory of Stacy also. What we really hope for here is justice for Stacy.
I hear you, and I've talked to y'all, and we've messaged, and yeah, this is a year is way too long. As we've heard that the forensic lab is really backed up. There's a lack of funding. This has been going on for a long time now.
Yes, but even before Stacy, there are cases that are still being waited for.
That's right. But y'all as a family deserve answers.
Yes, sir.
And that's why y'all are here today. That's why I'm here. I'm for you on this.
I appreciate that. We do. We all do.
But y'all deserve answers on this, and this is going on for a year with no answers. This is this. And the worst thing about it, if it is a murder, then you could very well have a murderer walking around.
Right, and that in itself is terrifying. And the fact that he or she can hug their children every night while Mackenzie and Sladen, Stacy's two children, literally still cry themselves to sleep is devastating. It really is. It's the fact that he is walking around is concerning, absolutely.
Right. This is Garry Morgan, and we're going to go into the commission meeting with Judy Hayes.
Yes, sir.
And thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sure, it's my pleasure to do this, and this will helpfully bring some attention. We'll try to get the commissioners involved in this, and also maybe across the street to the legislative delegation.
Right, and that's what we're hoping to do, get some funds delegated to the appropriate places for forensics to be kind of sped up, not just for Stacy's case, but for the 12 other unsolved murders in Alabama.
Judy, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Before we begin with the work session, public comments, we've had a couple individuals sign up to speak. So first, Ms. Judy Hayes.
Yes. What is the average wait time for an autopsy to be returned?
That I don't know. Do you have a list of questions for us?
I do.
Okay. Would you be able to submit that to us for review? I can answer that. I have no idea.
Can I say something about this? The commission has no authority whatsoever to speak about this.
Right.
This is strictly a sheriff's office investigation that does not need to be spoken in the public in front of any media. And if y'all want to go talk about it, we can go to my office and talk all day long. Nobody has come and asked me anything. But we do have our reasons for what we're doing.
Right.
And we'll be glad to explain it to you in private.
Okay, wonderful. I'll ask these questions, and if you think that I shouldn't, or if you think
I refuse to answer any comments in front of anybody that's going to put anything on Facebook or in the newspaper.
Okay, so there can be no, can I ask why?
Because this is an ongoing investigation that does not need to be publicized at this time.
Right, I understand that this is an ongoing investigation, but wouldn't it help if it were a little bit more public to be able to help with funds?
Well, these people have no authority over the funds.
Right, but they do have authority on pressuring the people above them to help that along.
That needs to come from y'all.
Right.
You need to go to the governor's office or a delegation across the street. I can promise you there's 67 sheriffs that would love to see it go faster.
Well, I know, and again, this is nothing against you guys. I'm right here with you. I'm totally happy that you're here. I feel like if we could get some pressure elsewhere, the funds could be allotted to the forensics in hopes of speeding this up, not just for Stacy, but for,
Right.
the 12 unsolved murders that are here in Alabama currently.
I understand what you're saying.
Right. So that's why we're here.
Okay.
And again, I'm going to continue with my questions.
Okay.
And if you feel like this is something you should answer, rather than, if you guys can answer it, I'm sorry, I'm very, not used to this. So, right, okay. What information can be released to us at this moment?
If you would go ahead and, if you want to ask your questions, if you would go ahead and read them, review them all for us. As he stated, there's little to no, there's really no authority probably that this commission has. I believe you said as far as putting pressure on, maybe the state, depending on the situation, there may be a situation where as individuals, we can, call our representatives along with you to support any changes or something that needs to be done.
Exactly.
But I think the best way is if you read those off and then submit a copy of those to us, if there's something we can respond to, and I would advise also to meet with the sheriff afterwards or whenever it's best for him.
Okay.
And what was that second one again?
What information can be released?
Okay.
Okay. And that was the how can we help pressure delegation of funds to be allotted to forensics. I had a question about the domestic violence charge for Scotty Peak. The papers were served on April 19th. She was murdered on April 20th, or, found in the morning of the 21st. So has there been anything followed up with that?
I'm not going to answer any questions in front of any news media.
Okay.
I'll be glad to talk to y'all separately, or not separately, as a group.
Right, of course. Apart from the
And
cameras.
private. This is an ongoing investigation that does not need to be publicized. That's just, we can't publicize investigations like this.
I understand. Okay, well.
Is that all the questions?
Yes,
What was the one about pressuring the delegation?
how can we help pressure delegation of funds to be allotted to forensics?
Okay.
To forensic research, I suppose, or
That's something, again, I guess that's at the state level, is that
right,
correct?
and that's really our main question, is like what can
You
we
need
do
to talk
help-
to the delegation,
help you
not the
guys, to help you guys speed this process
Yeah.
along.
Right. Mr. Porter, do you have any advice?
I agree with the sheriff as far as the ongoing investigation. I don't know anything about it. I'm not privy to that information. There's no reason for the commission to be privy to that information. That's the sheriff's department's function. As far as putting pressure, I think the chairman has answered that question fairly well. This is a state level. It is across the board with and the sheriff and the district attorney are just as frustrated as lawyers are of the length of time it takes to get anything done through the Department of Forensic Sciences these days. It's not good, but the sheriff and the commission have no control over that. That's just a state function. They need more money in a lot of different levels of state government. That's one of them. It's not good.
Absolutely, I understand. And like you said, calling individuals calling our government and the appropriate offices, we definitely appreciate that.
Right, okay. And to understand more, have you done that, or has?
Well, I have called the forensics lab, and they sent me to headquarters. Her name was Alice Halsey. I spoke to her voicemail. I guess everyone here has done that. Well, you guys. And she said she would get back to me. I spoke with Nick Jones, the Alabama Bureau of Investigations. Anything to help. Anything to help you guys specifically. To help you guys do your job. Not saying there's anything wrong with it, but any assistance you guys can get, I'm on
Right.
board, and I'm sure you are too.
Like I said, 67 sheriffs want the same thing done.
Exactly.
And we've been trying to do it for years, hadn't got anywhere. So
What needs to be done about that?
Right.
it all boils down to money.
Yes, sir.
Anything further at this time?
Mr. Morgan brought it to my attention, the fact, look around. Our family defines poverty. Like, I mean, we are definitively impoverished folk here. If we had more money in our pockets, do you think that this case would have lasted a year?
Yes.
They're
not treated any different based on what your income is, I promise you.
Okay.
Or your status in the public.
I've looked at the statistics, and ironically, more men get seen to before the women do. Like, and I know that that's
There's probably more of them, is the reason.
but yeah, basically just is it the fact that our family is poor and we can't afford the lawyers to help push it through? Like, is there anything?
The state pays your way.
Right.
It shouldn't cost y'all a penny. And this is not unusual, what y'all are going through. It's only unusual to y'all because you've never been through it.
That's sad.
It is. You're absolutely right.
Well, I suppose that's all the questions that I have.
It's sad that we have to wait this long before we can do anything.
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Mr. Morgan?
Thanks. This is the reason I'm speaking here today, and I'm going to speak too. It's no reflection on the Sheriff's Department. Chuck Phillips is a wonderful sheriff. He's a great peace officer. So is Rocky Harding. And it's just as what Sheriff Phillips has said, they want to see, and the other sheriffs in the state want to see resolved. But you know, I mean, look, yeah, politicians, y'all represent us. The people across the way over there represent us. The politicians in Montgomery represent us. This guy does a fantastic job representing. He's got a hell of a job to do out in the community, a large county. And it's hard for him to do the job. And once again, I'll say this is no reflection on the Sheriff's Department, but it is a reflection on the state of Alabama. And one of the things I wanted to convey to y'all, all politics is local and action begins local. I'm asking y'all to look around you in this room. Look at these sons and daughters of this mother that probably was murdered. Probably. Don't know that because we can't get a report back from the state. But it's just not this one person. There's 12 other people in this state, maybe 13. So it's what this means. There's probably 12 murderers walking around out here, and we know there's at least probably one in Jackson County walking around with no resolution. It's a horrible thing. You put yourselves in their shoes, where they're at right now. If it was you and your family, if it was your close family, what you would want the same thing done. You would be here right now. And again, I mean, it chokes me up, you know. And I feel for these guys because they got a tough job to do. I feel for this family. And as y'all well know, if I see an issue, I'm going to speak up about it. And I want to encourage you to do something about it. I want to encourage you to write letters to that state legislative delegation. I want to encourage you to write letters to Governor Ivey. I want to encourage you to write letters to every senator and representative down there. If that's what it takes, that's what it takes. This is ridiculous. Attorneys I spoke to around town tell me 3 years, in some cases, it's taken forensic laboratory results to come back. That is, come on, you know, that is not what the people of Alabama deserve. We deserve better. And if they can't do the job, then we need to do something to get somebody in there that's going to do the job, to properly fund forensic sciences, properly fund law enforcement in this state, properly fund the prisons, do whatever's got to be done to protect the people of the state of Alabama. And it's not being done now. That's why I'm here. And that's why I want to say that these good people deserve better. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner, have any comments?
I'd just like to say, I worked with Chuck and Rocky and their guys for the last 5 years, and I can assure everybody in here, if they could do something, they would. And there's nobody here. I know, but I just want you to know that if they could do something, I guarantee you they would.
I don't think Alabama's alone with this issue. I got some family in Kentucky. 5 years ago, a young lady was murdered. She was kind of in the same place y'all are, trying to find out what went on. I mean, her dad, he got out there, had his whole, I say, convoy of people every weekend, up and down the stream banks, everywhere around. Well, last, I'd say, that was probably September, the day that got murdered. So, you know, it's going thing everywhere you look, and, so it's a sad situation that we have to live with.
My apologies, one thing you didn't mention is a candlelight vigil Friday.
Yes.
The candlelight vigil, sorry to interrupt, but the candlelight vigil will be Friday, right here in memory of Stacy, and again, to help our state officials, like, draw some attention to the cause, like, in hopes that that may push them. I know we're not trying to riot, we're not trying to protest, we just want to hold a candlelight vigil out here on Friday. I was told that, you know, it's a public place, there shouldn't be a problem with that. Do we need to get a permit?
No.
Okay.
If you would just let us know, so
Right.
just be prepared.
Don't feel bad if we're not there, because we've already got a trip planned out of town, or we would be there.
I understand completely, and I appreciate that. I do. But yeah, I was just,
I personally am not opposed to writing a letter to the state and calling our representatives myself. I think we as individuals can definitely do that. We can discuss if there's anything that can be done in support of, as Mr. Morgan said, law enforcement and emergency personnel all over, and funding them properly,
right.
and as they should be. So this commission has made a lot of efforts to do things to try to shift that direction here locally in our county, and it's been difficult, but I think that the commission definitely supports anything we can do to better equip our law enforcement, and to, even at the state level, as Mr. Porter said, do what needs to be done there to help move these things more quickly. Though we don't have the authority, that doesn't mean that we don't have voices, so I'll be glad to share mine where I can.
Me as well. I don't know, your sister?
Yes.
What's your name again?
My name is Judy.
Judy. I don't think we ever met. I'm friends with Bridget. And so, you know, I'd already actually spoken with her on what we could do, but being new, I've only been in office since November, I was gonna consult with them and Mr. Porter as to what, you know, we have, what legally we should do. But I can guarantee you if there's anything that would be done, people would be doing it for you.
Yes, ma'am, and I appreciate that. Yes,
If y'all want to step out now so they can continue your meeting, I'll be glad to talk to y'all.
See you Friday. If you want to go to the legislation delegation.
Thanks for coming. Appreciate y'all coming.
Yes, you bet. Bye, y'all.